Hello, Virgo. What I am about to share with you is not for everyone. And I mean that in the most literal, practical sense available, not as the theatrical framing of a reading trying to manufacture significance, but as the honest instruction of spirit bringing through something today that requires a specific quality of discretion to protect. Not secrecy for its own sake. The specific, strategic, this matters enough to protect it discretion of someone who understands that certain things in their forming stage are vulnerable to the energy of people who do not have their best interests at heart. You know who those people are. Virgo always knows. The analytical mind that misses very little has been registering them for a while. The ones whose interest in your life is not uncomplicated, whose questions carry a quality of monitoring rather than genuine care, whose response to your good news has never quite had the warmth that good news exchanged between people who genuinely love each other produces. You know, and what Spirit is asking today is simply keep this from them. What is forming in your life right now is too significant to expose to eyes that would not celebrate it. Take what belongs to you today, Virgo. Particularly take the instruction. Not every part of this reading will apply to every Virgo watching. But for those of you who felt something sharpen when I named the people who monitor rather than care, who felt the specific recognition of someone who has been living with that dynamic in their immediate environment, this reading is carrying something today that your sign is uniquely equipped to act on. Let me begin with what is forming, because the protection is for something, not an abstract principle, but a specific and real development that is assembling itself in the invisible world around your life right now with a precision and a care that deserves to be honored by the quality of your own protection of it. Soft sigh. Something significant is moving into position for you in the domain that matters most to your specific situation. And for different Virgos in this collective, that domain will look different, but the quality of what is moving is consistent. It has the specific character of the right thing arriving at the right time for a person who has done the right work. Not luck, not the random distribution of favorable circumstances. The specific built from your own investment arrival of something that has your name on it because of everything you have been, not despite the difficult seasons, but through them and because of what they produced in you. That something is not yet visible. It exists in the invisible, in the forming stage, in the specific and delicate period between when something is decided in the invisible world and when it breaks through into the visible one. And this is the period during which the protection matters most. Because what exists in the forming stage is sensitive to interference in a way that what has already arrived is not. What has arrived can speak for itself. What is forming requires the protected space of its own development before it is ready to be seen. Do not speak about it yet. That is the specific and practical instruction. Not because speaking is wrong. There will be a time for speaking, for sharing, for allowing the people who genuinely love you to celebrate alongside you. But that time is not now. Now is the time of the forming. And the forming requires your protection. Virgo is actually well suited to this, better than most signs, because your sign understands in the specific experience built. I have seen what happens when things are shared too soon way, that not everything deserves to be spoken before it has substance enough to survive the speaking. That certain things need to be lived quietly for a period before they can be discussed openly without the discussing changing them. You have this instinct. Spirit is simply asking you to apply it deliberately, consciously, to what is forming right now. Ooh, now let me speak about why the secrecy is specifically important in this situation, because Virgo deserves the reasoning rather than simply the instruction. There are people in your environment whose relationship to your success is complicated, not overtly hostile, not the obvious, easy to identify opposition of someone who has declared themselves an enemy, the subtler kind. The people who smile when you share good news and produce, in the quality of the smile, something that does not quite match what genuine happiness for another person looks like. Whose questions about what you are doing carry a specific quality of information gathering rather than connection. Whose response to your progress has, over time, revealed itself to be more about their own relationship to what your progress means for them than about any genuine care for you. These people do not need to know what is forming. Not because they would necessarily do something deliberate with the information, though for some of you that is a genuine consideration, but because their energy in relation to your progress is not neutral, is not the warm, uncomplicated, I want good things for you energy of someone whose awareness of your good news simply adds love to the field around it. It is the other kind. And the other kind, directed at something in its forming stage, has a quality of interference that the forming thing does not yet have the substance to withstand. Wait until it has substance. Wait until what is forming has broken through enough of the visible world that the energy of people whose relationship to your success is complicated cannot touch the core of it, cannot reach the forming, can only encounter the already arrived. And the already arrived can take care of itself. Soft sigh. Now I want to speak about what Virgo does in the meantime, because protecting something does not mean doing nothing. The protection is active. It is the specific, deliberate, I am tending this quality of someone who understands that the forming requires nurturing as much as it requires shielding. Nurture what is forming. In the private, in the quiet, in the specific Virgo appropriate methodical way of someone who brings their full quality of attention to what matters without requiring an audience for the attending. Think about it. Prepare for it. Do the invisible work that makes the arriving thing land properly when it arrives, the internal preparation, the practical readiness, the specific quality of showing up that Virgo brings to everything it takes seriously. Take this seriously. In the private, without telling anyone you are taking it seriously. There is also someone, and Spirit is pressing this forward specifically, who is part of what is forming. A person whose role in what is developing matters, Whose presence in this chapter of your life is connected to the significant thing that is assembling itself, and whose energy, unlike the monitoring energy of those who do not deserve to know, is warm, is genuinely invested in your good, is on the right side of what is happening. You may already know who this is. The Virgo who is paying attention, which is all Virgos, because you are always paying attention, has probably already registered the specific quality of this person's presence as different from the others, as carrying something that does not require monitoring in the suspicious sense, as oriented toward you in the uncomplicated, genuinely care about what happens to you way that is rare and worth recognizing. This person can be trusted with what is forming, not because trust should be extended carelessly. Virgo does not do that and should not start now. But because the specific quality of their presence, registered by your own discernment over time, has earned it, and because what is forming may benefit from their knowing, may be partly dependent on the specific quality of what they bring to the situation for its full expression. Keep it between you and them. The circle is small for a reason. Small circles protect what large ones expose. What is the timeline of all of this? Virgo will ask because your sign wants the practical, the specific, the this is how it actually unfolds rather than the atmospheric. And spirit is giving me something to offer in response that is honest rather than vague. The forming is closer to complete than it feels. The invisible work has been happening for longer than the visible evidence has been confirming, which is simply the nature of the invisible work, that it precedes its own evidence. And what precedes the evidence of its completion is already largely complete. The breaking through the moment when what has been forming becomes visible, when the arrived thing can speak for itself, when the protective discretion can give way to the open sharing, is approaching in the specific, this is real, not vague way of something that is close rather than distant. Soft sigh. You will know when it is time. That is the final and most important thing Spirit is pressing forward for Virgo today. Not a timeline that can be gamed or a signal that can be manufactured. The specific internal, I know because I know quality of a moment that announces itself, that has a different quality from the moments preceding it. That feels from the inside like the protection is no longer the primary requirement, like what was forming has become formed, has broken through, has arrived at the substance that allows it to be shared without the sharing changing it. You will feel that shift. Virgo always feels the shifts that matter, even when the analytical mind is still assembling the evidence for what the feeling already knows. Trust the feeling when it comes. The shift from protect to share, from quiet to visible, from the forming to the arrived. That shift is coming. And when it does, share freely, celebrate fully, allow the people who genuinely love you to see what the protection was keeping safe. Until then, Virgo, keep it close, tend it carefully. Trust your own discernment about who deserves to be inside the small circle and who belongs outside it. And know with the specific, spirit confirmed. This is real, not wishful thinking quality of something that has been pressed forward today with genuine insistence that what is forming is worth protecting, is worth every day of the quiet, every moment of the not telling, every choice to keep the circle small while the significant thing assembles itself into something substantial enough to survive the open air. Whew. Something is coming for you, Virgo. Real, significant, built from the specific materials of who you are and what you have invested and what the difficult seasons produced in you that nothing else could have produced. It is forming in the invisible, and it deserves your protection until it is ready to be seen. Keep it safe, keep it quiet, and trust in the specific Virgo appropriate evidence will follow, but the knowing is already here way that what is coming is worth every careful, discerning, protective moment of the waiting. If this reading found you today, if something here confirmed what you have been sensing about what is forming and gave you the grounded confidence to protect it properly, stay close, subscribe, and come back. Because the story of what Virgo's protected forming becomes when it finally arrives, and what sharing it feels like when it is ready, is one worth witnessing all the way through. And the next reading will be there for every careful, deliberate, completely Virgo step of what unfolds.